And let me let it
That
hold. Okay, so it's 12 o'clock, so let's get started, ladies. So today is real talk time about menopause, and we have lovely Shani Shirley. I'm not going to bother to try and say your double barrel last name, but we're going to go with Shani, who everybody knows from social media. Shani is the CEO of Yasso Fitness and your motivational speaker. And what I love the most is when I asked you about your bio, you said, and a woman. And I loved that because you are a powerful woman.
Right.
I won't deny to say that you are a very powerful woman and you've helped so many women on social media being so real about your journey of menopause and your life. And it has really allowed so many women to embrace that as well. So we're so thrilled to have you here. So I'm not going to take up much more time doing introductions. I want us to jump straight into it. So ladies who are watching, if you have any questions, please type it in the chat so that Shani can answer for you. And let's get started. Welcome, Shani.
Thank you. I'm so happy to join this conversation on your platform.
It's really a great thing, because I mean, up until like last year, very few women were talking about menopause, and now it feels like we're finally like breaking that silence, eh?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for me, I use my platform and my voice to push community in general, right across the board, community in the space of wellness, of fitness, as women for perimenopause, as a mother parenting, as a girlfriend just going through, the crazy crap of life. I find that if we stand on togetherness and community, we'd help so many people. Nothing any of us are going to go through is novel. It has been millions of years since the first woman that we've been going through struggles, growth, life. It's not novel. So when we feel so alone, that to me is sad, because we don't live in a vacuum. None of it is new and individual to any of us.
Exactly. Okay, so let's get started. So let us start talking. So thanks to you jumping online, and for it's all over social media. Talking about menopause definitely does help break down a lot of the taboos that about menopause. As we know that our parents' generation, they never talked about this. They just suffered through. They just did what they had to do, and they didn't even share with us. For you, when was it that you first noticed that something was different? I'm not going to say off or bad, but sort of different. Like, what was your first clue that I got to do something?
Well, for me, I've been always different and always off from like day one. So for me to say that there was a defining moment, and the reason why I say I've always been off, people don't speak about irregular period cycles. My cycle started that way. I have PCOS, or polycystic ovarian syndrome. So I never had a normal period from day one. It came once at 14, went away, came back at 16. And it has been turbulent ever since. So for me, I can't tell you there was a defining moment, and I've always had issues with insomnia and sleep, and a lot of things that are hormone related also. I've had bad PMSing where I go ogreish when my period is coming. So I've had a lot of hormonal challenges. I suffer from depression. So a lot of these symptoms are also symptoms of perimenopause, going into menopause. So the reason why I bring it up, a lot of women can't differentiate what the change is, because they've been having some of these symptoms also. I suffered with subfertility. Once again, hormonal related stuff. But for me, when I started exploring and saying something more has to be wrong, I'm going to assume it could have been somewhere around the 39, 40 age group. I'm now 44. I'm going to be 45 this year. I'm always tired and I'm always lethargic. Something that people go, Shani, you lie, you say you're the energizer bunny, you're full of energy. I call it fake energy. I don't fake anything else except the energy for me to go and face the world and teach my classes, but I wake up exhausted all the time. I wake up like I ran a marathon. I don't sleep well. But somewhere around the 39-ish, it has become more than just tired. It's a lethargy. It's an extreme fatigue that I keep going, I think today's the day I'm going to pass out. That's how I feel. Around those bells also, that time period, my libido was so significantly low. I mean, at one point, she did dead. No movement, no life, no nothing. You could have put a defibrillator on her and nothing was happening. I went to the doctor and I'm just like, something is wrong. First doctor did blood work.
Because my name's Shani.
My name is Shani. And I think from chandelier, evidently. You know what I mean? I have sex morning, noon, and night. Evidently, that's what everybody thinks. But I went to the doctor. I'm like, something is wrong. Yeah, I mean, I'm not feeling anything down there. And they're like, Shani, you're tired. You're just tired. Your job, the kind of work you do, you need rest. Cool. I then went to, that was a regular GP. I went to a gynecologist and I said, something is wrong. Once again, did blood work says normal. You're fine, Shani. Once again, you're just tired. So people, as great as my doctors were, they base their assessment off of what they see on you. You look like you're healthy, you look like you're fine, you look like you're full of energy. So they're going to say that's the case. As time passed, my hair keeps dropping out. Everybody keeps going, Shani, because you're using box color. I'm lazy. I don't like going hairdresser. So they're like, oh, it's box color making your hair drop out. I kept getting answers and justifications for the different symptoms. I waxed from I'm 16. My skin started coming off. Like my right leg, all of my skin came off. I looked like I had vitiligo for 3 months because the pigment did not come back. So I had excessive skin dryness, but yet not vaginal dryness. So of course, I'm not thinking, oh, it's perimenopause. My skin just dry. So I kept justifying different things. My anxiety started going through the roof. So this is now within the last 2 years. I wake up anxious. I wake up like, I couldn't even catch my breath some mornings. Some days I'd grab the blood pressure cuff to go, maybe my pressure is high, maybe. And those levels were normal, but this feeling of anxiety. Rage. Yes, I'm irritable. I'm tired. My kids piss me off. My husband pisses me off. But I found I was going from 0 to 100 in a short space of time. Like, why the hell did you leave the dishes on the counter? You know what I mean? It went from, and everybody was kind of like, what's wrong with her?
Yeah.
Pissing me off and I wouldn't have to react like this. You know, it really got. So with all of these things, I realized, but I kept asking for the blood work. And the reason why I brought up the word normal, every time I went and did my blood work, when I requested it, they would just tell me everything is normal. It's in your normal range. Now, I am very educated as it has to do with medical stuff, bio stuff, anatomy, but I still can't read a blood panel screening accurately to go, okay, what does this stand for? What does that stand for? And when they tell you it's in a normal range, who are they measuring that against? Then somebody tagged Dr. Simone Van Horn and said, yo, I think you could have helped Shani now. She keep posting all this shit about she going through this, and I think you could help her. She reached out to me, and I'm like, you know what? Anybody who will listen to me and listen to what my blood work is saying and give me some guidance, I'm down for it. She explained something to me that was like a light bulb went off. So it's not that these doctors I went to were wrong in reading some of my blood panels. But when people come up with this concept of a normal range, I'm going to give an example of my blood pressure. Because this is, more people get this analogy. I've always had low blood pressure. Before having kids, I was 90/70, always. That was my norm. When I got pregnant with my first and my blood pressure went to 120, keep in mind, I'm 90/70, but 120/80 is the normal range. My gynae said, Shani, you have preeclampsia at 120. Another doctor saw me in Dr. Winter's absence. He had to go away for a week and said, why are you on bed rest? You don't have preeclampsia. You're normal. I went up to 130 at this time. He goes, you're normal. Come off a bed rest. You're fine. I don't know why Dr. Winter would say you have preeclampsia. 1 month later, I was fighting for my life in hospital because every organ was shutting down at 140. Just to show, just because The standard norm say 120/80, that was not my norm. Now, fast track to being perimenopausal and why I'm addressing the issues of what is considered normal. The normal testosterone range for women is 20/80. That's the measurement for normal range. Most women don't feel good within that range. I have somebody who had polycystic ovaries. I was pushing close to 200 in testosterone. So for me now to drop as low as 12, even outside of what is considered normal, my body was not even recognizing the testosterone in me. So I'm operating at like a negative. Remember, normal is 20/80. Half of you on this Zoom call right now are in that range, but it's lower than what your body is accustomed to. That is when Dr. Van Horn saw that and she's like, oh my God, Shani, this answers why you're feeling, and she went through all the symptoms. But the other doctors saw me still at that time within that range and said, no, man, you're fine, you're normal. My body was telling me otherwise. So I stand on my platform to tell women they have to be their own advocate. You have to speak up for yourself. If something don't feel right, I don't care what your blood work say, what the tests say, you want to go back to what feels comfortable for you. I've been feeling this way for so long, I don't even know what my norm is anymore. But I just know I wasn't feeling good in my skin. And this can't be my regular. I can't wake up feeling like this all the time. I felt guilty telling my husband every minute him want peace. And I'm like, no, I'm not in the mood. I couldn't even fake it. And when I say fake it, I'm not faking an orgasm. Fake even going, let me receive you. It was a downright no. Me tired, she tired. Me vex, she vex. And I felt guilty. Because when you're in a marriage, it's a significant togetherness time and a connection. And when your husband feels you no longer want him, even if you're telling him, I love you, I'm attracted to you, and this, they understand that you are rejecting them. And that in itself was giving my husband a hard time and made me feel bad. You know what I mean? So there were just so many aspects of it that for me, I had to start digging deeper to find a solution, because I can't continue like this. And too many people are embarrassed and ashamed to say what they're going through. And sometimes for some women, it's a quick fix, for some women, a simple change in lifestyle, diet, supplements, going to this doctor, but they're so embarrassed to say something as simple as the vaginal dryness is unbearable. I'm actually in pain when having sex. I went and bought somebody by myself, Astroglide, because I said, yo, I swear by this. And that could help her. Another person had to go on estrogen replacement in order for her body to start creating better lubrication so that she wouldn't tear, even just by walking in the supermarket. She was walking and the friction between when her legs would rub, hence her vaginal walls would rub, she was getting tears. That's no way for a woman to survive in your 40s. And then what is weird to me, nobody explained to us that from in your 20s and 30s, you've entered perimenopause. Nobody said that. What is perimenopause? Now that we're all speaking about it. People think perimenopause equals menopause equals no period and hot flashes. That's it. What people don't understand, the whole cycle of a woman, and I speak to my girls about this in depth now that I'm going through it. We all get a period, so we started as young kids, we're now going through that puberty. By the time you hit about 18 to around maybe 22 is the best your hormones will ever be, the most fertile, the most, you feel sensual, you feel everything is at its peak. I think for some people, even as young as 16 to 22, that's the pinnacle of our hormones. Everything going well. You see, once your hormones start to steadily decline, even by 1%, but you're now on that fall, even if it's just a slight dip, that is where perimenopause starts. So some people it's 24, some people it's 30, some people it's 32. But once it starts steadily declining, no matter how slow and subtle that decline is, that is where perimenopause starts. The average woman does not know this. No, it's when it dips well low, and the only time when you reach menopause is when you've gone 12 months of no bleed. That's when you're considered, you're now menopausal. But the entire process can last all 30, 40 years. Who the hell told us this? My mother is 70 and her hot flashes have started back now at friggin' 70 years old. She's dying. And hormone replacement is not an option for her because she's a stroke victim. She's like, Shani, I have been struggling for the last 2 years. I just don't tell you guys about it.
Yeah, yeah. So, Shani, you've named off some of the most common, I think. But what was your most unusual symptom? So you've spoken about your anxiety, you've spoken about not feeling right, your thinning skin, the drying skin. What would you say has been your most unusual symptom that now when you go back, you go, rotted, that too?
Sensitivity and irritability with sound.
With sound?
Sound. One of the symptoms of perimenopause, menopause, hormonal changes is sensory overload. You used to love to be rubbed and touched. You can't take it no more. The taste of certain things, you used to like it before, you can't stand it no more. The smell is another one for me. To the point where I went on a girls' weekend and I had to ask my 2 girlfriends who are staying with me, for the love of God, don't put back on that perfume and you don't put on back that deodorant, the aerosol deodorant. I'm like, open the windows, open the door. They're like, Shani, stop being so goddamn miserable. I'm like, I can't take it. Sensory for me, but sound for me actually triggered my anxiety. And it crashing on me. I went to Ty, that's my son. He had a play at Hillel. The mic system was off and the sound was too loud. So I was hearing the breathing in the mics along with a lot of feedback and static. And I sat in the audience, cold sweating now, gripping. I needed to get out of there because my anxiety, I felt like I was going to lose my shit because the sound was triggering. And the more reading I've been doing, a lot of people have said sensory overload, but for me, it was smell and sound to be exact. Rough.
Oh, yeah. You know, the sound one I get as well. I distinctly remember this was my tipping point. I was already feeling the anxiety starting to creep in a little bit, and I went into a Digicel outlet, and they had the music playing, and the lady in the line in front of me was on a phone call. You know, when people in public do this, as if you want to hear their conversations, so she had to do this, right? The music is playing, and then the buzzer went off for the security guard to let somebody in. Well, cold sweat washed my body when that buzzer went off. And I went to the security and I said, I beg you, turn off the music just for a moment. I think I'm losing my mind. And the lady said that they couldn't turn off the music. And the security guard said, no, you have to do something. This lady, something about to happen to her. And it took a long time. See, I'm even getting goosebumps thinking about it. So I knew that that's a symptom associated with my anxiety. I didn't realize at the time it was associated with perimenopause. My most unusual symptom though is that a lot of women get hot flashes. I get cold flashes.
Same.
I get a feeling of extreme, like cold, like I can't move, cold, like if I move, something with the freeze and drop off. Like it is the most unbearable feeling, and nothing makes it go away until it decides that it can go away. And I thought that was just weird. And again, in the reading now, I've come up on this is an unusual symptom associated with perimenopause. So much we don't know.
So much. One that is actually common in literature, but a lot of people don't realize it, is the body aches. Not just joint, but you can get joint pains and muscle pains. Now, keep in mind, I'm in fitness. Every last day I'm sore. I'm lifting heavy weights. I'm always, but I could not pinpoint certain types of achiness, like even in my hands. And I was kind of like, okay, well, I guess I lifted heavier weights this time. But then it dawned on me, just the pain, even just for me to open and close my hands sometimes. And it's not for me, hands meaning my joints, the muscles in my hands. Another thing for me, tendonitis. Somebody reminded me my wrists just stopped working 2 weeks ago, right as hurricane. All of a sudden, carpal tunnel. I know I've had that before years ago. And then somebody messaged me and said, Shani, remember that hormonal changes creates tendinitis sometimes. And it's the reason why I keep using the word hormonal changes, because it's not, that's what perimenopause and menopause is. It's the changing of our hormones. When I got pregnant with my first, I got tendinitis in both wrists. And I actually had to have surgery on one because I needed at least one to work. And the doctor said to me, once your hormones settle down, Shani, more than likely it will go away on its own. So one hand went away on its own. I did one surgically, but it's a hormonal changes. So even for some women who are like, I'm not in the perimenopause phase, I'm not menopausal, but because they have polycystic ovarian syndrome or thyroid issues, they need to understand hormonal changes in your body will have some of these very similar side effects. So it's still a conversation they need to be privy to kind of understand what's going on with their body and know that they're not psychologically going crazy. I think that's another major issue for many of us. We feel like we're going batshit crazy. And if you can't attribute it to something, that in itself is nerve-wracking and frightening. Understanding that I'm going through an episode, I'm going through a season, my brain fog is another thing. Words elude me. I'll be speaking and I just suddenly, and I'm like, holy shit. And my speech feels slow, but I'm also always dehydrated. So I kept saying, I need to go drink some water. It's dehydrated, I'm dehydrated. So once again, we keep excusing these symptoms, trying to find another reason for it. Somebody posted today, they sat in their car, she's a big fitness person, and her belly is hanging over, and she's like, when the hell did I get so much cellulite in my stomach? I exercise all the time, I eat clean, your body composition changes. I know I'm not the best eater, I declare that. But I exercise more than the average person. I'm always going, why the backside is my weight so high? I have not changed, I haven't gotten worse with my eating, but why the hell do I look like I'm blowing up like a blowfish? And I'm exercising and I'm seeing more cellulite and hormonal changes. So in people, and I can't stand it. Is it because I'm in fitness? I'm scrutinized more than the average woman. So I'll have people message me, and they'll message me some horrible messages and some nasty messages sometimes. But I'll have other people in the fitness world, especially men, you need to be cutting your calories. If you were operating from a calorie deficit, you would lose weight. If you were doing more cardio, you would lose weight. The problem with people who have entered this phase, eating less and dropping your calories, for some women with these hormonal issues, stresses you more and makes you put on more weight. For some women, excessive cardio increases our cortisol level, stresses our bodies. As a result, we put on more weight. There's a huge difference between visceral fat and subcutaneous fat. Once again, nobody speaking about that. And they're just telling you, your belly big because you nam too much and you need to do more cardio.
No, definitely not. You talk about all those, I mean, we have ladies typing in here, all various amount of symptoms. You touched on the blood pressure thing. That was one of mine, where I went, just like you, I went from very low blood pressure to now I'm on blood pressure medication because of the hormonal, as you said, the hormonal shift. You talked about Dr. Van Horn, and I actually do think she's listening as she's part of the panel here. How does somebody know where to start, Shani? Because you talked about going to a doctor. You're going to keep going to a doctor until somebody tells you you're not normal. I mean, how do you can't just keep going to a doctor. So what does one do?
For me, I actually went to 4 different doctors, and they all roughly told me the same thing. This is before I met Dr. Van Horn. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of specialists, I find. And somebody could chime in and tell me if I'm wrong. But we don't have a lot of specialists with women's health and hormonal issues. That goes under the that's more endocrinology, okay? But I don't find them specializing in perimenopause and menopause. They deal with other hormone-related issues, diabetes, thyroid issues, what have you. if you can find a doctor who is going to listen to you and focus heavily on your symptoms versus all the supporting literature. For example, and I'm sure Dr. Van Horn will chime in because I see that she's on. When I went and did my blood panel with Dr. Van Horn, and she goes, Shani, your other hormones as it relates to perimenopause. So there are 4 main ones. Other hormones, yes, but we're more familiar with insulin, progesterone, DHEA, and testosterone. A lot of people don't realize how important testosterone is. We actually have more testosterone than estrogen. My other hormones are functioning normally, but my testosterone was significantly low. Now, I went, and for those who follow me, I chose to do testosterone replacement therapy. I'm only 2 months in now. I did a pellet replacement. My testosterone has increased. When we compared, I was coming from a 12, that's how low I went. My last check, I have now reached 138. Bear in mind, literature claims the normal range is 20 to 80. My whole life, I function close to 200. So it's still not enough for what my body demands or what my body needs. But I'm heading in the right direction. But my lethargy and tiredness has not budged. My libido has increased. Sex is wonderful again. My orgasms are like, I'm singing again. But my rage isn't that bad. I'm still getting angry, but it's not as bad. My anxiety is much improved. But my lethargy and me dragging my ass every day is still horrible. Dr. Van Horn, because she's so knowledgeable about this aspect of what a woman is going through, she was able to go back through my blood work and said, one of my thyroid hormones still within the normal range, but on the low end of normal. She is willing to explore increasing that to see if we can manipulate what I'm feeling. So for her as a doctor who understands it's not black and white, us women are not black and white. We're not cookie cutter. And when women are seeking the support and the interventions and the treatments, it's not a quick fix. Sometimes it may be a year of trial and error. Try this, it never worked. Try that, it never worked. Tweak this, okay. What did Natalie use? Cool. You know, what did Penny use? It's trial and error. And finding a doctor who is willing to listen to you and listen to your symptoms. Yes, scales are important and ranges are important, but at some point in time, you're going to have to say, this range is not suitable for this individual. We're individuals. A doctor has to address your needs and your symptoms, and you can't give up. I have a lot of women who they didn't get the formula right for a year and a half. And then I have others who 2 months in, they're like, screw this shit. I'm done. I can't do it. It's over. It's it for me. Same thing with a lot of doctors. Depression is a major symptom of perimenopause. But what started the depression? So a lot of doctors are medicating, going, I'll put you on a sedative. I'll give you an antidepressant, which is also just masking the issue at hand and making us very, very numb. We don't want to feel numb. Yes, we want to address that symptoms, but we want to feel alive. We want to feel youthful. We want to feel, and when people speak about libido, like when I was researching it, libido is zest for life. Libido is not equated to an orgasm. People want to improve their libido, meaning they want to improve their zest for life. I don't want to feel plateaued. And at one point in my life, I felt placid. I felt like a flat lake. I wasn't depressed. I wasn't tearful. I wasn't crying, but I also wasn't joyous or elated. I was flat. And for me, that was worse than the roller coaster of hitting rock bottom, bawling, devastated, depressed, but having the opportunity of, I'm having a great time. I'm having a great week. I prefer, for me, visiting that low point sometimes if I can have my high points. I personally hated that flat, blah. It was just uncomfortable, like tepid water. Even like give me hot or cold, no put me in that. I couldn't tolerate that. And that was rough for me.
Wow. That's you talk about libido. Let's talk a bit more about that, because I know you've shared online with that with your whole husband and whatnot. So how do we have that conversation with our husbands or our partners or whatever? Because for women, it is so difficult to own what is normal, what are we used to, not what should we expect, and to have that conversation with our partners, because we're kind of embarrassed ourselves. But how did you navigate that?
Absolutely. Now, to me, conversation and transparency with your spouse is the utmost importance. And it's something that comes and goes over time because life happens, stress happens, and your relationship does get strained. But I keep preaching to people, having good communication and a safe space and understanding how your partner communicates. For example, just because I've been with my husband for 25 years, we've always had great communication, but am I the greatest communicator? No. The reason why I say that, I will tell you, be honest with me and tell me your truths. Do I get hurt? Yes. Do I shut down and he claims I malice him for a whole week? It's not I'm a malicing, but that's how I process. I shut down. So he wishes I wouldn't, because he goes, if I go tell you something now, she'll go get vexed. She'll not go talk to me for a week. The whole house upset. He may choose not to, but he has to respect the fact that that's how I process. Dave and I have always had a great way of communicating and always revisiting that conversation. I've always been one to speak openly about what I want, what I don't want, what I like, what I don't like, meaning sexually in the bedroom. A lot of women shy away from those conversations. It's initially uncomfortable at first, but the more you do something, the easier it gets. I even went through a little exercise because I was curious, because typically, not always, typically I find men do want sex more frequently than women. I have some women, some girlfriends who horny as hell and they want it all the time. Kudos to you all if you're like that. For me, I can't come out of my head. So if the kids are awake and the kids are making noise or I had a stressful day, I don't know how to shut down and go, okay, time for sexy time. I can't. My husband can. He could roll over. He could be having a migraine. He could be vomiting. And I go, you want peace? He'd be like, sure. Okay. I am not like that. But in us speaking about it, he would remind me of the level of frustration for him as a male, going very long periods without sex. And so I would say, boy, David, I'm curious to know what the norm is. What is the normal amount of sex that women in my age bracket are having? I want to know if I'm really below average or if I'm above where. So I actually did a little survey. Women who were young kids, older kids, kids moved out of the house. And I asked a few who were in the dating world to see what the average sex was that a woman was getting. And women who were in their 40s or had kids, young kids at home, really and truly was maybe twice a month. That was the average. It picked up a little bit for those. I know somebody's mouth is open like, seriously, Shani? I reached out for some who were, their kids moved out and actually picked back up once their kids left. So they were now in perimenopause to menopause, and their drive for sex actually increased at that point. But the average woman was twice a month, really and truly. Of course, you had those shifted. Sometimes it was 2 in 1 week, and in 3 weeks, nothing happened. But when I averaged it out, and I'm like, David, see, I am normal with what you're getting. But the conversation, you see, when he would explain to me, he's like, Shani, I show love and I feel connected and I feel loved by physical contact. Women typically want words of affirmation to show love and acts, deeds. So I even made a post, which my daughter was not pleased about. I'm like, it's a big turn on when my husband cleans the fan and spreads the bed for me. Mommy was like, Mommy, people are at school saying you get turned on when daddy spreads the bed. But we want, I know, she's like, that's quite funny. Yeah, my daughter is like, Mommy, can you stop talking your sex life online? But I do it to help other women. So the conversation between me and my husband, to go back to your question, it's challenging initially, but the more I've now spoken about it and him hearing when Dr. Van Horn spoke to me about it, or other women, a woman held us at Sunsplash going, thank God Shani speaking about this because me was dead down there. This is at Sunsplash this weekend, speaking to David about, and he's like, the more he's now hearing it, the more understanding he has. And he goes, he's happy to now be a part of it because he realized it's not me denying him and me not being attracted to him. it puts him in a place of understanding. Now, for me as a woman, I had to find the balance between, when am I going to give him a charity piece because I know he needs to plug in and reconnect with me? I call it what it is. And I don't recommend other women maybe use this terminology. He and I are solid. I mean, I will go, I hope you know it's a charity piece and you better hurry up too. Where people are like, Shani, that's just mean. But that's my headspace. I'm just like, can you hurry up and don't look at my face for no facial expression because there'll be none. But he appreciates when we wait and he knows my body is desirous of it. And it then makes him feel like Kingpin. He's walking with a $1 million in his pocket because he saw that I was enjoying myself. And that's what communication has helped with. He understands the science behind it. And then he can give me what I need and allow me to be a wife to him where I go, this is my self-sacrifice. It's charity. No part of me wants it. But because I love you, go on and make it quick.
That's real. That's real, Shani. That's real.
You know, but the communication.
Oh gosh.
We have to speak.
Yeah.
And if the man truly loves you, he is going to understand and stick around and do his part. Do what he can do. If he knows that you're overtired and it's making it worse, he can take off some of the duties. That has been arguments with me and David. If you know I'm tired every day, why don't you go on to the last pickup? Why don't you, when I have no helper today, bring home the dinner so I can lie down in my bed and go and relax myself, and maybe I'll get in a mood. Just maybe, on the off chance.
No, I think that the communication, but what I love also, Shani, is that empowering ourselves is one thing that we want our men to understand the science behind it. But as women, if we don't understand the science behind it, gosh, we know that the men are not going to. So for us to understand, it does take more knowledge, more talking, more information, which is exactly what we're doing here. So I think that that's key. Advocate for yourselves first. Yeah.
You know what I'd love to say to the ladies that are on today is you're going to get access to previous episodes, even if this is the first episode that you've signed up for. Go back and listen to the conversation that we had with Karen Carpenter. We spoke a lot about the relationship and the impact that menopause has on a relationship. And we spoke a lot about the communication and how to have those conversations with your partner. And that is, if you can be, as Shani has been, real and vulnerable and honest with your partner, then it opens up a whole new level and unlocks a whole new level of intimacy. Because these poor men in our lives, if you think that we don't have information about menopause, them worse. All they know is that women get cranky and miserable and don't want to be touched. And if we can let them into the process, because they love us, that's why they're with us. They're not just with us because them done put the ring on the finger, right? So go back and listen to how to have some of those uncomfortable conversations. And I myself had one of those challenging conversations with my partner subsequent to that episode that we had with Karen Carpenter. And the level of intimacy that it brought was just really heartwarming and really like awesome is the best word I can use to explain it, you know? So I completely underscore what Shani is saying. I love the use of the word charity piece.
I keep it real. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And sugarcoating, one, doesn't help me in my marriage and has never helped somebody else. To me, especially with these social media and these kind of platforms, can be beautiful, but also it can be so horrible because I find there's so many smoke and mirrors and such garbage. So everybody is looking and going, oh my God, they have such a beautiful relationship. Oh my God, they're traveling together. Oh my God, her life is great. Her skin is great. But if no one's actually sharing the sacrifice it takes for whatever. Oh my God, I said to somebody, your skin is flawless. How come you don't have any? And she was like, Botox girl. People don't want to. They're so cagey with their information. They're so cagey with, if we can improve each other's lives and we all are happier individuals, life would be better. You walk into a store, you get better service. Why? Because that person is having a better life. You go to a lawyer's office and they're really on point and arguing your case well. Why? Because that lawyer's life was better and improved. So we can't help each other by being fake and this smoke and mirrors and sugarcoating shit. Life is too short. I may die tomorrow. Give me the clear answers now. Let us talk about the real stuff, rip the band-aid off, and be completely transparent.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, with sugarcoating, you know.
No, definitely. Let's talk. You talked earlier about you as a fitness instructor when you saw that your body was changing and the weight gain and all of that, which must have weighed so heavily on you. And I know for women who are not in your arena of fitness, what do you say to them? Because if it was hard for you, you can imagine how it was hard for them. Is that pants are not fitting, things are not working, and there's nothing you're doing that's working. So what does one do at that point?
As I say to all my women, we need to learn to operate from a place of grace, giving ourselves grace and compassion and loving ourselves wherever we are and loving ourselves through a journey to a destination. Because the sad truth is many of us will never meet the destination. We won't reach. Whether the destination is a particular goal in weight, size, marriage, you want to travel to, it doesn't matter what that goal is, what your destination is, good health, we may die on that journey. And you wasted your time being so focused on the destination that cancer don't kill you before you reach there. A bus knock you down when you're out a road. So I've reached that stage in my life. And that's one thing that's beautiful about this time period. This age, from I hit my 40s, it's yeah, I'm trying to do better, but I don't give a shit what other people really have to say. Yeah, it's hurtful. I've had some, like, there was one of my posts that went viral. It's getting over 1 million views and hundreds of comments. And somebody actually said in the comment, I was speaking about the best way to get a snatched waist. Okay. And a comment I got in there was, and of course, people guise it with all due respect, or I don't mean to be hateful, but for somebody speaking about a snatch waist, don't you find your waist unusually thick? You're so wide in your waist. Could you really say it works? Or maybe if you ate less, you know, you could stand on a platform to speak about. And my comment to them was, well, to be honest with you, after 3 pregnancies, my waist went from a size 23, which was abnormally small, to a thick ass waist of 30. And it is what it is. But I do my best to keep my body healthy. So we are met with this. Another time, 2 years ago, I walked into, just to let women know that no matter how skinny you are, how big you are, how flawless your skin is, we're met with the negativity and we can't allow it to dictate how we view ourselves and the journey we're on. 2 years ago, I went to AC Hotel to go and drop off a girlfriend of mine. I'm walking through the hotel doors and the security guard says to my girlfriend, "Are the fitness lady that?" So my girlfriend proudly turns around and goes, "Oh yes, this is Shani." And she felt so proud to say it was me. And he looks me dead in the face and go, "You get big and fatty, you can't talk to nobody no more."
Looks.
And I just looked at him, my eyes kind of opened up and I just went, what could I say? And he repeated it. He goes, "Yeah, man, you had a fitness day that was on TV. No, man, you get big and fat. You can't talk to nobody about fitness no more." And I turned and I walked to my car and my friend was so humiliated for me. And she came back out because I was dropping her off. She came back out and she's like, "Shani, I'm so sorry. I'm going to go speak to him." I'm like, "You know, it's fine. Leave it alone, you know." And while in my car driving home, I wept, I cried. Because no matter how I know what I need to know, no matter how I'm doing what I need to do, we all have those weak, vulnerable moments where it breaks us. I look in the mirror and I see my saggy skin. My heart sinks. I look at the stretch marks. I look at the crepey skin in between my thighs. I went to Natalie. I'm like, what can I do about this? Like, and she's like, "Shani, that's not so much fat, but loose skin. We can try and tighten it, but that's loose skin. That's the stretch marks, the stretching over." I had preeclampsia. I went up to 200 pounds and then came down. We have to operate from a place of grace, doing what we can to be the healthiest version of us. But we need to release those thoughts of what we think is an ideal look that we should have. Many of us is incorrect, it's inaccurate, and it's skewed. We look on these social media, these airbrush pictures, and we think we should look like that. As simple as it is, I had this conversation with somebody who was going back out into the dating world, a mature woman, and she was so concerned about, and I'm going to get real intimate with you guys. Shani, how am I going to show a new vagina? It's now stretched. It's now crepey. It's changed with age. It's changed with, I'm like, a lot of those changes are also hormonal. Waxing, ladies, actually stretches our skin and makes it even more creepier. She's like, how am I going to show a new man this? She's like, I have to now go and do vaginal tightening and cut off the little labia minor because it's now so wrinkly and looks stretched out. It's ugly. Why do we have to think like this? Why? Because some of these men are also watching porn and seeing these fake vaginas that they're going, oh, that's what a vagina is supposed to look like. Okay, vagina is for us who are mothers. The vagina should look like what we see on porn, when it's not. It's all these smoke and mirrors and all the fake crap that's out there. At different stages of our life, our bodies change, and we need to embrace the change, respect it, and love it. If we can't love ourselves, the extra folds, the rolls, the skin, if we can't, how do we expect somebody to love us and view us? And I keep telling people, love and respect can actually be a verb and be a noun. Many of us keep aiming for these nouns. I love my body. I respect my body. I am confident. They're not thinking about the action of these, the verbs, the actionable words. What shows me that I actually love my body is how I treat it. Even if I don't fully believe it yet, the belief is like the abstract, it's a noun. But what I do, I exercise. I eat as well as I can. If I feel for cake and I feel for wine, I'm going to have it. I'm not going to overindulge. Okay, right now I'm overindulging, but you get my point. These are the verbs that we action, how we view ourselves and how we feel. I hate my thighs. I actually do. If I stand in a mirror and look at them, I would then choose not to put on shorts, but the time is so goddamn hot. So now I put on shorts and I say, to hell with it, wear the shorts. I just don't look in the mirror and stare at myself. I don't take pictures of my thighs going, shit, look at everything hanging. Look at the size. I wear it because I want to, and I'm not going to scrutinize. That's another problem. We stand in front of the mirror, scrutinizing everything about ourselves. The boobs that hang down the hair, the fold. Stop scrutinizing. Love yourself. Rub that lotion on and go, I love me, every inch of it. This feels nice. Forget about the craping and the draping and So that's what I mean when I tell women, operate from a place of grace. And I do it every day. My newest obsession that I'm fixating on, which I know is unhealthy, is seeing the aging in my face. So every day I'm in that mirror and I'm rubbing creams on. I'm like, okay, eye cream, skin cream, face cream, shit, Shani, you're not aging gracefully, because I can tell every new wrinkle that I have, and so I understand it's hard. It's hard. I do it too. But in the same breath, I then step away from the mirror and go, okay, maybe you don't go so close. Then you won't see all of the wrinkles and the crinkles and the...
Easier said than done. Absolutely. Easier said than done. But it is about self-acceptance and self-love, which I think for women in general is so hard to do. I mean, I tell my clients all the time, it's the same thing, is learning to have that self-love and acceptance of yourself it's a practice, it's a muscle that you have to build. It's something you have to do every day, and it will get stronger and stronger. But I think that is vital. Let's, as we only have 10 minutes left, let us talk a little bit about friendships and relationships, Shani, because that's a big one for women. As we are going through menopause, we know that we are changing, we are evolving. Therefore, our people around us are they're actually not the ones changing. We're the ones changing. So has that happened to you? I mean, have you shed along the way? And then on the flip side, have you resurged and have a whole new group of friendships and women and alignment?
I have lost friendships along the way. In any evolution in life, with any growth and change in the course of your life, you know, everybody speaks about it, from Michelle Obama to people will fall by the wayside. Not everybody has the same goal or understanding or willing to sacrifice as you do. I will speak to the fact that this is one of my biggest struggles. Women going through this time period and the hormonal shifts, menopause is a real thing. It affects us mentally also and emotionally. If I'm going through my own struggles, my female friends are. I have lost one friend in particular. She's a little older than me, and I saw the changes and the struggling that she was having, and I addressed it, and I said, you know, I really think you need to reach out to somebody and get help. You can't force somebody to get help if they don't see it. Everybody around this particular person saw what they were going through, saw the pattern, you know, the fight and the turbulence with everybody in their life. And keep in mind, I'm going through my own struggles, but I'm willing to open and share and talk. She did not see it. She point blank told myself and other people, I don't need help. There's nothing wrong with me. You can't want for somebody to have better and expect your want is enough. You have to learn when to love somebody, but love yourself more, that you're going to walk away. No matter how much that person means to you. It could be a family member, could be a very close friend, So even for my own sanity, I had to choose to walk away, although in theory, I understood what was happening with her and I could justify all of it, but I love me more. And I was not going to subject myself to negative words and spewing of venom and hatred and jealousy. And a lot of people, you know, friends especially, and it's always the closest people, friends and family, sometimes they're blinded by jealousy and envy for what you have, not knowing the journey you took to get there, or the work you had to put in to have what you have, or the uncomfortable conversations you had to have with your husband, or the sacrifice you had to make to give up certain things. They're just blinded by the feeling they themselves have. So yes, at this stage of your life, going through menopause and hormone shifts, you're already struggling just to reconnect with self, to improve your relationship with self. You can't take on all the battles of everybody else. So you do sometimes shed, you do sometimes reconnect on this level to go, I'm not fixating and wallowing in misery. I'm all about what's the next step? How am I going to improve? And right now, my circle of friends, we're all like-minded with that. We're all looking to improve the quality of our life, and as a result, the quality of the person beside us. So I can love you from afar and I can pray for you, but guess what? If you're not going on in my direction and you're not helping and we're not helping each other, I love you, but peace out. I will still pray for you. But sometimes it's time to snip and move on. No ill feelings. I don't wish you harm, but you're not improving the quality of my life.
I love that. It's all about boundaries as well as serving ourselves at this time, because we are evolving as women. We are going through things that we don't have the answers. We don't know what's going on. We really don't know. So honoring ourselves, I think it's important. Let's talk a little bit about, let's go in a little bit more personal as far as what has worked for you. I know it's an evolving process. I know that you're doing things differently and changing, and some things work and some things don't work. If I had to ask you, what was your biggest shift then when you got onto this journey? Would you say, was it HRT, exercises, or is it just in general?
For me, right now, as I said, me starting HRT, I'm only 2 months in. That has been a big shift for me, because I've never had the highest sex drive. People think because everything that comes out of my mouth is sexual. I'm a slack ass person, but I never ever had the highest sex drive where I wanted sex every single day. But it was an issue for me that for a few years, I wasn't enjoying sex how I used to. And that for me was very important. Since doing the testosterone replacement, I'm giving less charities and I'm being a little bit more self-serving with it, where I'm like, David, I enjoyed myself. I don't know if you did. So that has been a big, big shift for me. In the last 2 months, sex is so beautiful again for me. And that was huge. That was huge for me. What did not work for me, but as my doctor explained, Dr. Van Horn said, my levels were so low, supplements did nothing for me. I've been on every single supplement somebody has recommended to help with my mood, my energy, my sleep. Those, I gave it a fair shot. I gave it like 5 months straight of ashwagandha, evening primrose, valerian root, magnesium glycinate, melatonin. Everything you recommended, I've been taking it. And it did nothing for me. For my life, exercise is huge. I suffer from depression. Depression is a big part of menopause. Exercise, being out in the sun, being in nature, it sounds odd, but it really does help to level you out. I don't feel euphoric with any of those things. I don't exercise and go, oh my God, I feel great. I have people who do that, but I know it keeps me leveled. It helps to reduce the crazy swings I get. So testosterone has significantly helped me. Exercise, which I need to know, find that balance of what my body needs. That's the journey I'm on now. Because I used to go so hard. Like I used to be doing 4 hours of exercise every day because I teach it. My body is not responding well because I'm so tired now that I can't go that hard anymore. So I am trying to find that balance. But as I said, testosterone has helped. I'm such a horrible sleeper and all the natural supplements was not helping me. I did have to give in and go on a sedative. So I've been on a sedative now since last year, November, which doesn't knock me out, but it makes me get longer spells of sleep. And I had to use what I'm on, if anybody's interested to speak to your doctor, Zipiclone. All the other things like Xanax and what have you made me feel hungover the following day, which defeated the purpose. So yeah, they'd make me sleep, but I got up groggy. Zipiclone, and I'm only on a half dose, I do 7.5 milligrams, actually makes me naturally fall asleep. If you call me in the middle of the night and go, Shani, I'm going to still answer you. So I'm still coherent. I'm still responsive, but it allows me now to get sleep. So that has also helped me during this time period. I don't know when I'll come off of it because right now it's working. And when I spoke to my GP, he says, lack of sleep is so destructive to a person. It's better that you stay on a low dose sedative than you go long periods without sleep. So that has helped me.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And the other thing I will throw in before we come off, because we spoke about being transparent with our spouses, it's very, very important to be transparent with your children. People like to think that, yes, not childlike conversations. Why are you speaking to your children about? Guess what? Children are children for up to 18 years, from birth to 18 years. They're going to be women or adults from 18 to 80. Look at the time span. Look at where they're going to spend the majority of their life. Now, do I say speak inappropriately to children? No, everything can be given in child appropriate terminology, but I've never been one to sugarcoat and to allude or to hide. I speak to my children very openly from of the age I think is fitting about sex, the importance of sex, about puberty, the changes in their body. Puberty and hormones shift, then know what perimenopause is, what menopause is, why mommy is so cranky, the role they play in it. I speak openly. They are, because you don't know what they're internalizing. Sometimes you lashing out because of your hormonal rages is making them feel that they are the problem. So you don't know how they're internalizing some of it. So I speak to them. They also go through hormonal shifts. And when they feel very low, when they understand that, wow, mommy does also, and she came out of it. So they see me when I'm bedridden, and I say to them, I'm just feeling really low right now. Nothing in particular happened. Or I went, your father pissed me off and I need a break. And they go, mommy, you know what? He upset me too. He was so mean to me last week. but it gives them a platform to talk and share.
Yeah.
I think as equally as important it is as to speak to your spouse, speak with your children, because it also prepares them for adulthood.
Especially boys.
Yeah.
Completely agree. Yeah. My you know, my mom never talked to us about anything related to anything. And looking back again, you know, the hindsight thing really kicks in at this stage of life. Looking back, there was a period where she took to bed, you know, and daddy would say, Mommy is not feeling good. Mommy can't manage things anymore. And I keep using these air quotes because that's what we were told, as opposed to Mommy's going through something that all women go through. She needs a little time and space, but we felt like Mommy was broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have somebody
And
else.
I don't want.
You don't want that for you. I have somebody else who spoke to me that they saw their mom medicated for
Yeah.
such a long time, or they even saw signs of alcohol under her bed. And now in their 50s, they're now looking back and reflecting, going, wow, that is what was happening. That is what allowed them to be a part of the conversation.
Yeah,
Also,
sure.
we're so busy in preparing for school and for university and for occupation. What is the most important journey they will ever have in life? It's one, themselves, because that's the only consistent that they have from birth till death. It's themselves. They can't get away from self. And the second thing is, what are we trying to do? We're trying to find a partner to share our life with, whether it is a husband or a wife or same sex, or even just your best friend and you and a best friend want to live together for whatever reason, and that's your partner. We're not meant to live as in isolation. So we have to understand how to forge relationships and navigate them with what we're going through at each stage of our life. Conflict resolution, even conflict with self. That's what perimenopause is and menopause, you know. We're having so much damn conflict with self and we don't know how to resolve, how to acknowledge, how to manipulate it, how to let it work and serve us. So it starts from teaching the kids how to look at us and how to handle for themselves as they navigate.
Absolutely. Well, you're empowering them. I mean, you're empowering yourself, but you're empowering them. Because as you said, that's their journey that they're going to be going on, whether it's for themselves or their partners as they grow. So I think that this that is a very valid point. Absolutely. So I think we could talk about this for another hour or two, or maybe we need to have a part two. I don't know, because I think there's some topics that we didn't kind of get to touch on. But I think that this discussion about being real with menopause, Shani, has been so powerful. I know for me, I know that you were a driving force for me as well to really advocate for myself more. And a lot of women don't want to talk about it. Maybe they're shy, maybe they don't want to put themselves out there, whatever that is. But thank you for being that vehicle for us to talk about it. So yes, I know some people have said we need a part two, so we're definitely going to have to do a part two. So Shani, thank you so much. As I said, this recording will be sent out to everybody who is registered, and yeah, I think we might have to have a part two without a doubt.
Absolutely. Y'all know I chat enough, so
I love it. Thanks so much. Love it. Thank you so much, Shani. I appreciate it. Thanks, Nat. And we'll have to
Thank you, Shani.
out. All right, ladies.
okay, so we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Okay, bye.